For anyone who isn't familiar with the concept, a recursive translation is when something is taken from one language, translated to at least one more, and then converted back to the source language. The results can be quite interesting. Anyway, let's go.
Shed of Chocobo 2. Final Fantasy Chocobo launches a whole new series of events. In search of treasure, Chocobo and Mog find more than they think. With other characters besides Final Fantasy, Chocobo must defeat enemies and hide the secrets of his friends while exploring the Secret Pit series. Insert a magic hole created by a random hole generator that changes appearance every time you enter. Discover hundreds of different products, many of which are unknown, combining weapons and armor for powerful results. Join your friends in a two-player battle and treasure hunt at the same time. Movie theater hosted by brilliant film artist Squaresoft CG. Final Fantasy Fables, Chocobo's Dungeon, an adventure to remember. Chocobos and Cid travel around the world in search of rare treasures, but when they arrive in the city of Lostime, they discover a city is plagued by oblivion. Every time the bell rings, people lose their memory. Join Chocobo and his friends to go through the dungeon, regain the memory of the citizens, and save the city from oblivion. Defeat powerful enemies in the ever-changing dungeons. Practice many of your favorite Final Fantasy jobs. Discover addictive gadgets, pop-ups, and more. Mysterious shock prison for all your friends. Introducing a new popular series, the classic Final Fantasy Factory. Chocobo's Dungeon is back with an improved gaming system. It will delight the first fans of the series. Explore endless prisons and make friends with monsters using the new friend system. On a simple rule, the world around you changes shape every time you enter, but it only moves every time the shock moves. Friend Chocobo Alpha. Chocobo is the adventure seeker's best friend. With the new friend system, you can take your shock friends on an adventure. Invite Alpha and start your journey now. Ability, Chocobo Drop. Performs a tail attack on all enemies within a one-tile radius. Final Fantasy Chocobo Myths and Magic Story. You can't judge a book by its cover. Jump into action and play as a silent Chocobo in this self-proclaimed Final Fantasy storybook game. Take part in fairy tales full of minigames, card battles, and endless parameters of your favorite Final Fantasy characters. Fight smartly and duel Irma and a group of her captives to save their friends from the hands of the Dark Master Bebs. Multiplayer action. Nintendo Wi-Fi is compatible. Exciting games and lots of little games. Card duel. Collect over 100 cards. Chocobo Racing. Put it on the floor or out of the way. Full of magical spells, special abilities, and challenging tracks. This fast-paced racing game features many characters from Chocobo and Rolled Stars Final Fantasy. Chocobo and Mog tried out a fast new car and tried to collect legendary pieces of blue crystal. This can only be collected by winning the hair growth race with friends in the Final Fantasy. Drive 8 unique vehicles and choose between magical abilities such as Dash and Barrier. Stop your enemies with aggressive magic like fireballs and lightning. Play against Versus and Relay mode, 5 different modes in total. Unlock hidden characters and clues. After exiting story mode, customize your character in parameter editing mode. Includes a non-interactive demo of Chocobo's original RPG, Chocobo's Dungeon 2. Chocobo GP. Join them when Chocobo and his friends get in the truck with some great cars. Learn the basics of story mode and compete with all players in the chosen game mode. You can also use classic magic spells, such as fire and aerodynamics, to blow up matches and miraculously revive the table with each character's special abilities. There are many ways to play, including rewarding and competitive survival competitions. Enjoy fierce racing with players from all over the world. Final Chronicle Fantasy Crystal. Caravan of Crystal. The deadly cube devoured the earth, and it's up to you to keep them. There are many dangers lurking on your journey, but you shouldn't just resist them. Write to your friends in Crystal Traveler and write together in Crystal Chronicles. Only you face a variety of dangers as you unravel the mystery of the deadly spell. Or connect the Game Club ad system with 3 friends on the go. Combine your powers to form a stronger attack. In multiplayer, use the Game Boy Advance to qualify as a talent and view game-specific information on screen. Christian Fantasy End. My Life as King. Legend has it that the deserted city is a living memory of the Great Kingdom. The king's young son went into exile on Earth after a long journey, but only an abandoned castle and magical crystals were found. Despite years of neglect, Crystal retains its brilliant luster, which allows the boy to complete the strength and memory of the architect. With the help of loyal servants and brave adventurers, the new king is faithfully preparing to rebuild his people's homeland in this new territory. The Crystal Fantasy Final records My Life as a Dark Lord. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles My Life as a Dark Lord is dressed in the ultra-modern shoes of the Dark Lord's daughter, Evil Little Daughter. He's responsible for building the superhero sails by strategically placing traps and monsters around the towers brought in by the superheroes. House, a real-time strategy game with a diabolical twist. If you want to stop these evil adventurers from entering the Dark Crystal at the top of the tower, you need to get past the Devil's Trap and the increasingly scary monsters. However, you need to be careful. Traps and minions are not included until uncovered as a true evil genius, as all the racing champions and professions of the Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles series are under attack by real-time informants. Beneath that, your beloved home will crumble before you know it. Stop protecting the world as the king of both legs and start conquering the world as a Dark Lord. Sure, there are hordes of evil adventurers out there who decide to stop you, but the best part is to break them down, as the self-respecting Ark agrees. Crystal Carrier. The power of penetrating crystals. A great war broke out between the two rival tribes, and one tribe ruled the other and was apparently wiped out. The world looks at technology, and magic is only used by exiles known as crystal carriers. One such crystalline carrier is the Railroad, and his dangerous lover is trying to send him on an extraordinary adventure. Immerse yourself in a variety of sports games. 2 players work together in a special area. Discover the secrets of a fully interactive world. Unleash the power of gravity with Rail's Crystal Bearer. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicle Echoes of Time. Never arrive. Darkness Happiness lurks in the shadow of a peaceful era when unexpected events begin to shape the passage of time. Your birthday is the beginning of a traditional rite of passage in the village, but passing the final test is only the beginning of your adventure. No, hero, the job before you is not yours. If you're using a Nintendo DS or Wii, connect with other adventurers and relive the sound of time. Play online adventures with up to 4 players on Wi-Fi at the same time. They are big, face hordes of enemies and giant beasts. Combine features and styles when customizing the look of your hero. To play online, you need a wireless router or Nintendo Wi-Fi USB connector and broadband access. Ring of Destiny from Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicle. The Bad Moon rises. An ancient evil spreads throughout the country. The twins Yuri and Charinka find themselves at the center of ancient prophecies. Armed with only courage and crystals, they fight to protect everything that matters. Go alone or invite 3 other friends to share your multiplayer adventure. Adjust the attack to do destructive damage. Play with your friends in multiplayer mode. Customize your character with over 300 outfits. The Ultimate Theater Fantasy. Play the Awakened Memory. Touch more than 70 songs from the Final Fantasy series and drag your fingers to join forces with iconic characters to fight memorable monsters and criminals. Unlock unique items and deeper challenges and 3 exciting game modes to bring your music crystals back to their former glory. The Eterthum Final Fantasy Carton Call. Build an infinite musical heritage. Final Fantasy is made up of 221 songs and over 60 characters. Match of RPG missions in rhythm and medley mode. Fight Nintendo Online. Final Fantasy Disagreement. For the first time, the heroes and villains popular among fans of the entire Final Fantasy series will gather in one game. The action-based combat system combines full-scale combat with RPG-style character development. Dissidia Duodecim 012 Fantasy Final. The struggle between God's harmony and the continuation of the conflict is the promised reward for the fate of the world. The brave soul tends to do the struggle alone. Fabric defenders are cut from textiles that are the various fabrics of our world, confiding in remembrance of shattered survivors. They knew that they would fight to end the struggle and return to the world. Navigate the map in true RPG style to encounter enemies and discover treasures. New brands like Ultimate Fantasy 13 Lightning and Ultimate Fantasy 7 Tiva Lockhart have joined the list. Add new gameplay, support systems, a new level of depth and design to your unique combat system. The Final Fantasy World. Capture, adapt, evolution. The Rain and the Orchid, able to grow and flourish, are guided by a mysterious person in the world of Grimoire, reclaiming the past and saving the future. The call for help makes a great hero. Handle the usual battle. A world of new opportunities. Day 1 edition includes Lulakin Sephiroth, Chocolate Tray, Muggle Glory, The Red Wine, 3 special tricks, Sephiroth Summon, and Japanese Voe DLC. Recent Thinkers. Join the new world. Play only or join 2 to 4 co-op players. Fight with 4 people, over 20 jobs to explore and perform. Final Fantasy Monsters and Final Fantasy Monsters. Final Fantasy IV Hero Light. This is the story of their search for legends. Brant woke up in the small kingdom of Horn on the morning of his 14th birthday. Today is the day he grew up, and the state custom says he has to go to the castle to present himself to the king. Discover the beautiful world of fairy tales. Master the new action point combat system. Customize your hero with dozens of tasks, weapons, and armor. A whole new ultimate fantasy. Final Fantasy Mystic Questions. Can you save my world? This is your chance to play the world's first role in the game for beginners. The earth is dying. A cold wind is blowing. Fire, fire. The wood dried up. That is cruel. Only you can prevent the Dark King from destroying the earth's light crystals. But don't wait to walk the gardens. Faced with the dumbest and worst toxic bag of mucus. Here we are talking about serious things about monsters. Even your basic children's game isn't throwing to pieces. You should think about your method on difficult points. Can you handle me? You can use your free guide to coupons with an email address for a set period of time. See inside for more information.
It's all the same thing. Thank you for the registration question?